All right, we're going to start with stats. And of course, we're going to replace our strength later on, but let's start with 10. Lets us jump a little bit, carry a little bit more, so it's a little less annoying until you get to the Grove. But you're going to be swapping out your strength from 10 to 19 thanks to the Hill Giant Club. And even before that, once you get to the Grove, you can get those strength elixirs from Ethel, bumping you up to 21 strength. So we'll talk more about that in a moment. The dexterity, the armor I'm going to go for, can't go past +2 dexterity bonus. So 14 is perfect for us. We're going to use a medium armor that has 16 base. It's going to bring us up to 18 with the bonus from dex. Plus we get a little bit of initiative. And I guess you could argue that you might use a finesse weapon or a ranged weapon in the early game, but not really. You're probably going to cast Bone Chill because that's your best attack in that early level 1, 2, 3 until you're in the Grove. Constitution, since we do want to concentrate on Spirit Guardians or maybe even hold person or something, you'll have a +3 bonus to your concentration, and you'll have good HP since you'll be a frontline fighter, at least I was. 8 intelligence is not relevant. 16 wisdom, so this is going to carry you up until like Act 2, level 8, when you can boost your wisdom up. 16 is pretty good. It gets a little worse as you go on, but it's solid enough that you could be casting Bone Chill, Toll the Dead, or even inflict wounds and landing it pretty successfully. And then later on you can boost it. And hey, your proficiency is also in wisdom. So control spells like hold person or confusion or whatever very rarely affect you. So that's really great. Charisma is not needed, but I have intimidation from thaumaturgy because this was my main character. Otherwise it's irrelevant. Equipment, so Saravok's helmet isn't totally important other than the fact that it looks metal AF and it fits the theme. But it actually probably is the best because you can't be frightened. You get increased critical hit, some other properties, but there should always be a helmet from like very early on, gray medium armor helmets that give you a constitution saving throw bonus because yet again, we want to boost this for concentration. So that's the running theme with all helmets through the entire game. Look for constitution saving throw bonus. Cloak, you can't really do much better for what we're going for because it has armor class +1. So if you can't get hit, you can't lose concentration or die and can't attack, right? But also your saving throws across the board. But again, yes, saving throw for concentration with Spirit Guardians. Since I want to attack with my weapons, I'm going to use the Justiciar gloves as well. So I'm going to add more and more and more necrotic damage to my weapon attacks, since that's what I want to do, and it boosts my offhand attack, making it really justified. But both of these, the chest and the gloves, can be grabbed really early once you get into Act 2, the Shadowlands. You can go right into the Gauntlet of Shar if you know what you're doing and just steal these real quick and leave and start doing the rest normally. So Boots of Striding from Minthara in Act 1. This is always good if you're going to concentrate on something. You get a little bit of momentum, sure, but the real kicker here is that we already have medium armor access. And if we're concentrating on, say, Spirit Guardians, can't be pushed or slip on ice or grease, this is amazing. So the one thing that could make us lose concentration other than taking damage, slipping and falling prone, now we don't have to worry about that while concentrating. And we can't be pushed either. So Devout Amulet is amazing for channel divinity builds like this. So you get a +1 usage. That's how I'm up to 3. And I think this works on short rest, even though it says once per long rest. I think it works on short rest. Don't quote me on that. But it also boosts our spell save DC by 2. So your Spirit Guardians, your Blight, your Toll of the Dead are going to hit more often. Arcane Synergy boosts your, well, it boosts both of your weapon attacks, but if you use your action to cast a cantrip, that very same turn you can still get a stronger offhand attack thanks to Arcane Synergy, and then for 2 turns, both of your weapon attacks are going to be boosted by Wisdom. And then Risky Ring, this is going to be, I know it's contradictory to use this and get advantage, but then lose that advantage with Risky Ring, but that's the risk you take, and frankly, your best attacks, Bone Chill, Inflict Wounds, your weapon strikes, all of these are attack rolls. And if we have better accuracy, that's what you want to gun for. Plus, it increases the critical hit rate, which is going to combo really well with Saravox and Deadshot if you take those. So Risky Ring, I would take the risk and use this, and then just null out the advantage of the chest piece you have here. So melee, just don't use the Shattered Flail. This was a meme. It looks cool. It's thematic. It's an early +2 mace. Sure, but it can get you killed if you don't understand how to use it. That's all I'll say on that. Just use any versatile or one-handed weapon once you get dual wielder. Otherwise, you need to use light weapons so that you can dual wield them and get the offhand attack, right? So of course the offhand I'm using is the Hill Giant Strength because it gives me 19 strength. So I can start with 18 or 10 strength, but now it's 19, allowing me to all in on wisdom and get a good constitution score, and I don't have to use an elixir for it. Ranged, I'm going to use Deadshot. Really doesn't matter, we're not using a ranged weapon, but it does increase my critical hit score, and I want to get that with the risky ring. If we're going to pull off the risk, I want to get the reward, you know? So I get actually a lot of critical hits, and especially when I land I fish for a crit on inflict wounds, it's worth it. If you're not going to use risky ring, or even if you are, you're probably going to want to use the elixir of heroism. This is probably the best in class because, again, gives you saving throw bonuses, I'm done saying it, but also it improves your accuracy, which is a lot of what we're doing, both spells and attacks, weapon attacks. At level 4, I took dual wielder. This gives me more choices to dual wield, plus it gives me 1 armor class bonus. Since I'm not running a shield, that's pretty important. And then also I can now dual wield any number of weapons, like I said, but yeah, I'm going to take this early, and that'll give me a form of extra attack that only gets stronger as I add more necrotic damage, arcane synergy, death touch. So I think it was fun and useful to use earlier, the better. Level 8, I'm going to boost my wisdom saving throw. So plus, I'll be 18 at level 8, and level 12, I'll be at 20, because I'll take 4 druid, I'll be able to get another feat. So by the levels, cleric 1, obviously, and Death Domain, so you're going to have to take Death Domain if you want to play this build. It does give you the Reaper, so you're going to take Bone Chill and Toll the Dead, so you can cast 2 targets. You can hit 2 targets with your cantrips. You have to choose the specific Death Domain cantrip. That's how you get access to Bone Chill on your Death Domain cleric. Otherwise, just use Toll the Dead from the normal cleric cantrip list. So that's the little caveat there you got to understand. I also chose Guidance, so when we're out of battle. And then Inflict Wounds is probably your best, strongest damage dealing spell. Every cleric gets this, so just prep it. And then Sanctuary and Healing Word are good standouts. This saves allies when they're down, or if you don't want them to get hit by something directly. And Healing Word can pick somebody up using your bonus action from 60 feet away. Very good. So Cleric 2 at level 2, we're going to have Channel Divinity. We're only going to get 1 Channel Divinity, which means once per short rest, roughly once per combat, we have the big Smitey hit, right? So this isn't going to hit very hard, but it can make a difference for a specific target, especially if you land on solid Inflict Wounds and they have like 5 more HP. You're going to want to apply your Touch of Death. Only works on melee attacks. Again, once per short rest, we'll have this. Set your reactions up correctly. So Cleric 3, Hold Person is a good standout spell. Think about it. If I cast with an action, Hold Person, I can use my offhand attack and get a critical hit with all this necrotic damage, right? So it's definitely a standout spell we should take. And then Cleric 4, I'm going to have Dual Wielder, like I said. So now I can ignore if it doesn't have the light weapon property, as long as it's 2 weapon, or as long as it doesn't say 2-hand weapon style. So Dual Wielder also does add in a little bit of armor class bonus too. At level 5, we get Spirit Guardians, so we don't get extra attack. We're dual wielding to get 2 attacks per turn, but Spirit Guardians really makes up for it, and Death Domain is the one necrotic Spirit Guardians where you can use and run around the battlefield. So you definitely want to concentrate on this all 10 turns, get the max value for a single spell slot. So this more than makes up for not having extra attack, and it's one of the best cleric spells in the game. Or probably is the best cleric spell. Cleric 6, we can now ignore resistance anything, not just weapon attacks, spell attacks. Any necrotic damage is now ignoring resistances. And you get this right around the time you would be entering Act 2 with all the undead and half the enemies are resistant. There's still some enemies that are immune to your damage, like the shadows, but more often than not, you're happy to have this, and it makes your necrotic damage very consistent, makes your inflict wounds and Spirit Guardians extremely consistent and doing a lot of damage. So Channel Divinity now gets 2 charges, so twice per short rest you can smite, so do not hold back. Use this. You're going to essentially have it you're going to have 2 of these every short rest or every combat, essentially. So use your Touch of Death a lot more, and now it ignores resistances. So hooray. Cleric 7, we're going to have freedom of movement. Just a shout out here. Maybe you want to use your level 4 slot that you just got to ignore difficult terrain. and ignore being paralyzed or restrained. You could even cast it on somebody else. But for my money, I'm probably going to use it on Spirit Guardians or a level 4 Inflict Wounds. But it is an option. And so is Blight. You're going to always have this prepared anyway. You don't have to prep it down here. It's always going to be available to you. And I can attest that there have been times where Inflict Wounds wasn't going to land, and my weapon attacks weren't going to land, and their wisdom was too high. So I threw out a Blight, and I actually killed a couple things with Blight. So Blight is a pretty nice niche tool every now and then. Cleric 8, Divine Strike. So we now have access to Divine Strike. You're now going to have to reset your reactions to where it says do not ask, and you'll have to turn off Touch of Death unless you want it to pop off. The reason we do this is the passive reaction Divine Strike. Let's say I use my offhand. This is now going to pop off automatically without asking me. And if Touch of Death was also on, but do not ask, these both pop off. So that's a big hit with your weak, measly offhand attack. So that's a really good tool to know how to use. So just make sure you understand what you can do with your reactions, your Divine Strikes, your Touch of Death, and you manage that. You're not accidentally popping off Touch of Death. But this also allows us to do a manual Divine Strike with your action, and then passively get another Divine Strike in the same turn with the reaction on your offhand bonus action, okay? So that's the main thing I want to draw attention to. And then we are level 8, so we are going to boost our 16 Wisdom to 18 Wisdom finally. So level 9 Druid 1, we get level 5 spell slots because we are mixing 2 spellcaster classes, so that's noteworthy. And then maybe take Thorn Whip, but I doubt it. What's cool about this is it feels like a Death Knight, right? And you can pull people into your Spirit Guardian, slowing them down. So that maybe that's the kind of utility you want to use with it. You have to pick a cantrip anyway, just go with that one. So Druid 2 at level 10, we have the Circle of Spores. We're going to take the subclass so that we can get Symbiotic Entity. And this is going to give us temporary HP. And our weapon attacks are now going to have an additional 1d6. That's how I have all of this stacks right here. The good thing is you can use 2 of these per short rest because it's a wild shape charge. So it's actually not unwise to use your action, use temporary HP to sort of heal yourself that turn, and then use your bonus action with the new 1d6 damage. So if you forgot to cast this or you lost it during combat, remember you have 2 charges per short rest. So it's actually pretty wise to use it mid-combat, keep yourself alive, and still do some extra solid damage with the bonus attack. Druid 3, we now have access to level 6 spell slots for full upcasting, Guardians, or Inflict Wounds, right? And at level 12, we are Druid 4, and we have ASI +2. I went to max Wisdom, and yeah, you can go get the Sharon Mirror in Act 3 and get to 22 Wisdom. But that's going to do it from level to level and gear and all that stuff. This is an addendum to the video I just did about the Death Smiter.